100-yard rush with 16 games, and that changes right there on cue. He's into the triple digits. Taking a deep shot. Brown is down there, and he's got it! Oh, what a catch!
They're coming. Fields is in trouble. Racing away. He's sacked again. Myles Garrett, a career day. Living in the backfield. 4.5 sacks.
In one timeout for Cincinnati. And going deep into the end zone and caught by Chase. Oh my goodness, what a crab.
Go. 4. He was bringing 5. In trouble. What? Brings him down. Maybe this time. Keeping himself untouched into the end zone.
Have you ever
The
felt?
pump fake.
Are you
He was in on the
listening?
play. That's intercepted by Wilson.
Ball's out. Oh, look, ball is out. Oh, boy.
The whole way.
Geno Smith will drop deep. He'll pump. He'll take it. Lost the football. Knocked out by one. Recovered by Devin Bush, who circles the right way. He almost lost the ball.
Pressure coming. Mayfield able to get away, and now he'll uncork it for the end zone. Ball in the air, and it's caught. It's caught. Donovan Peoples-Jones. Baker's prayer is answered.
Welcome to another edition of the AFC North Talk. I think this show might be 10 hours today. I
Oh
don't know.
boy, can't.
We
We,
were-
can't
we
we,
were-
don't have time. We don't have time. We don't have time.
We were like all in before we started here. So let's do this super chat. We're gonna get with the Baker thing and let's just move on from that. For real,
Baker thing. No. It's not a Baker thing. It's an Odell thing.
I'm sorry.
But I like that your framing of that. We can
No,
start there.
I misspoke. I apologize. I misspoke. You see the
real
you
problem.
See the video where Tony's dad talk about all the times Q got the Steelers predictions wrong.
Yeah, 14-minute cut up, Tony, of your dad telling me that
I've
I'm
already
cutting you off
requested a
too
trade, but
much.
I don't want to talk
I'm
about
not
it here.
letting you finish
My
your
agent-
takes. He's saying
My
that I'm
agent will handle
freezing
this
you
behind
out of
the
the
scenes.
offense right now. So, you know what, man? Like, I'm glad you showed up today so we can actually have the conversation so the show doesn't have to end. But you know what I mean?
No, behind the scenes,
tired
we're
of
working
this
out.
controversy,
Working out a
you know?
contract here. Just get me out of here.
You want how many targets you want, Tony? How many targets you want so you can do your manscaped?
It's not about
balls
the target.
ad?
We've lost trust. There's just a lack of
We've
trust
lost
now
trust.
between
It
us.
ain't
Yeah,
there
I
anymore.
just can't.
All right, well, Tony will not be on this team. We're gonna release him. We're gonna release a statement, but we're not gonna release him yet. You know what I mean? So he is obligated
We're
to.
just restructuring right now his deal. We just
Yeah, that's right. We gotta
restructuring
restructure.
his deal. So saying that, what is the vibe here right now? I know Ravens fans are like, oh, do we get Odell? I don't know about Steelers fan. I'm sure Bengals fans are not in that camp. And Browns fan are like, you know what? 13 sucks. I don't want him here. So Q, I'm gonna start with Q.
I
How
got
you
on
feel?
13 sucks train. I felt like 13 was pretty good. He just didn't get enough targets. And that was a whole offensive problem. I don't think if you could just put it on Baker, I think it's also on Kevin Stefanski and Alex Van Pelt when Odell's going from 7 to 3 targets to however many targets and bouncing around all game. It just looks like there was never a focus on him. And then obviously after 2.5 years of this, if him not saying anything, it came to a head. It exploded. Now, we can have issues with how he handled it. I think how he handled it was a little goofy, getting his daddy and LeBron to tweet out there for him. Like, that was a little goofy how he handled it, right? Like that, we can all admit this was a little goofy how this all came to head. But the reason this came to head and the time it took, it was well overdue at this point. I mean, we got everybody blaming him for the offense not being great. Like, it is what it is on that front. But to me, to be honest, I know everybody else is freaking out, but like I feel like as a Browns fan, I've been here before. You know what I mean? Like, is this not Josh Gordon when we had to trade him to New England, where everybody was like, "Oh man, Josh is gonna blow up"? You know, it's something that happens here from time to time. Unfortunately, it didn't work out between Baker Mayfield and Odell, but now we get to see if Tony's theory is true. We get to see what everybody else. Dan Orlovsky and everybody else who's a talking head on ESPN is saying is true. Is Baker Mayfield better now that OBJ is not on the team? Because homie's not on the team no more, even though he's technically on the team. He ain't been on the team since Sunday, right? He got cut after the Steelers game, essentially. So, we'll see what happens here. It was Odell not being on time on these routes an issue. Like the front office is leaking out there. Who cares? It's going to be a bunch of garbage. It's going to leak out on both sides up until he signs with somebody else. This is what it is. But the real question is, can Baker Mayfield play better? And can Baker Mayfield beat the Bengals? And can Baker Mayfield justify you having to cut Odell because it's just not working with Odell? Can he justify it? Is he good enough? We'll find out, man. We thought we answered this question last year with the head coach and the quarterback about, are these dudes the dudes that we've been asking for the last 20 years? Well, that question is back up for relitigation. And it starts now and it ends at the end of the season. So we'll see what's up with Baker Mayfield. We'll see if Baker Mayfield's the dude. We'll see if Kevin Stefanski's the dude, but they respond against the Bengals, because honestly, if you come out there and play a pretty garbage game against the Bengals, I'm going to start questioning that locker room presence. I'm going to start questioning the locker room leadership, and I'm going to start questioning if Baker Mayfield's the guy that can handle the pressures of being the quarterback of the Cleveland Browns, because no matter who it is, it's going to be like this. You're going to have controversy. You're going to have pressure. People are going to always wonder if you're going to go back to being the Browns. You're never going to get the benefit of the doubt until you win a Super Bowl or two. So, if you can't handle this now, you ain't going to be able to handle it even at higher levels. So we'll find out. A lot of things are going to be found out about this team in the next 7 to 8 weeks. So that's where I'm at with the situation. I've had my fun with it. I talked about Odell and Baker dad got a fight at the Pee Wee parking lot to work this out. I've talked about how Stump Mitchell is the reason why this is all happening. Stump Mitchell come out. That video don't come out. Stump Mitchell tell him to take it down. Stump gonna handle this. Stump gonna be like, Odell, you gonna come to the office? No, man, I don't feel like it. They not giving me any ball. No, man, you coming. All right, Stump, my bad. Like, you know what I mean? So it is what it is. Some of this shit is funny. It's okay to laugh at it. The other part is that, you had a great combination that can never work together. It's unfortunate. It's funny. It's all of those things combined. But we'll see what the future has in store for both Baker Mayfield and, to a lesser extent, if you're a Browns fan, Odell Beckham. And by the way, Browns fans, don't do this to yourself. Don't obsess over where Odell's going to go. Don't obsess over every other stat line that Odell puts up. He's probably going to put up decent numbers if he goes to a decent team, right? Like, he might. Don't got to make that about you or make it feel like a personal attack on you or fixate on it. You can just not care, and that's where I'm at with it. I hope Odell the best. Hope he goes to a great situation for himself. I hope he has a good rest of the season. He's been having a frustrating 2.5 years, injury and targets, all of those things aside. So I hope the best for him. And I also hope the best for Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns, and I hope that they get it together, because that's a more pressing question than whatever Odell's going to do for the rest of the year.
Yep. So we have two. Can you guys hear me right?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. I got off for Ravens Nation. Thank you for the donation. I got off for Barkley for Joe Burrow and fantasy 2 QB league. My other QB are Mahomes and Jimmy G. Unfortunately, I do need running back.
Which one, though? Unfortunately for this year, because
I wouldn't
like 10 picks.
Yeah,
I wouldn't trade for Barkley. Barkley is super.
Yeah, I have Barkley.
Awesome.
And I'm going to tell you, probably shouldn't do that.
No,
I'm not giving any fantasy advice. I drafted Gus Edwards, my bad. Not Gus Johnson, great play-by-play caller. But Gus Edwards, and I was going to have Kareem Hunt to start the year, and they're both out, and everybody I signed afterwards has been out. My fantasy team is the 2015 Browns right now. We are 1-0.
Browns.
I definitely would not. By the way, I would not trade for Barkley under any circumstances.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
Second that. Yeah.
Joshua, thank you for the donation. Browns top 6 in sacks allowed. Bengals top 4 in sacks. Garrett is the GOAT, but Baker should be more scared than Burrow Sunday. We're gonna discuss that
that's
game.
A take.
A lot to talk about in that game. That's our marquee matchup of the day. We're certainly going to give our full share to Bengals Browns today.
And then Chef here says, "Go on," and we rank the wide receiver room.
You won it. What do you want this validation for? You won it.
Did the Bengals win it in
but
that?
the Bengals,
No.
I
don't
think the
think
Bengals
we did.
I think my fault. I think it's
I
on
don't
me. 'cause
think
I
we
didn't-
did because of Tony. Steelers
yeah.
won it, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, but you won 3 out of 4.
the
You won
Steelers
it.
won it?
Please stop being
No,
petty.
I think the Browns
I
won
don't know if we won 3 out
What?
of 4. Nah.
Yes, you did. I gave him one.
Oh, you're
You
saying
definitely
3 out
gave
of
him
4 in
one.
this panel. Okay,
Yeah,
got you.
yeah. And Tony, there's no way Sonny. I bet Sonny did something like get the Ravens 2 or something like that. Which
No, I put
seemed
them
ridiculous
last.
at the
We put
time.
them
I
last.
put
No,
them
I think the
last.
Ravens were
Oh, yeah.
last, and
Yeah,
then it went. Didn't it go? It went Ravens, Steelers, Bengals, Browns. If I remember right.
Maybe.
No,
I had the
nobody
Steelers
had Browns
one
one.
because I don't take rookies into account, so I couldn't have the Bengals one.
Yeah,
maybe
or
you
the
did
Ravens.
the wide
the
receiver
Bengals
core.
3.
And I don't believe in
think Tony had
OBJ.
the Bengals 3.
I
had a
definitely put the
Bengals,
Bengals 1.
But at this
Steelers,
point,
Browns,
let's be
and
honest.
Ravens.
At this point, if I say Bengals 1, right, everybody will say yes.
Yep.
And
Ravens
the other
2,
ones, you just throw them up in the air, and it's like whichever
Ravens.
falls first.
Ravens 2,
Juju isn't there now. That's a good,
Right, exactly. It's
that's a
like,
good
Ravens
you know,
mistake.
like,
It's Bengals 1
not
and then
only is Juju out
everybody
there,
else.
Claypool's
It's
not
Bengals
bad.
1, Ravens 2, and then you can play craps
probably
with the
would
other
take
2 and
Steelers,
see what
though.
happens. You know what I mean?
Ravens
Like
2.
it
Just
ain't been a
because
good situation.
Deontay and Claypool. That's still
Are
Claypool's
Ravens,
done shit this
Ravens
year.
too, just because Hollywood's had a good year? Because have they really had like good help behind Hollywood yet?
Bateman now.
Bateman's only
coming
played
along.
like 2 games.
Yeah, but before Bateman, Sammy was playing well, and Sammy got injured, and the next game Bateman played.
Yeah.
Right, so there was no gap in between those two.
Give us like another month. Ask that super chat again in a month. Appreciate the super chat. One more month, and we'll
Yes.
redo it again.
If you
fun-
want that
it's a fun
validation
monthly
in a
exercise.
month. Yeah, I mean,
I
like
did
we'll
say
see
the
if Bengals
Ravens
fans
can
are
move
still
up.
feeling like needed that validation in a month. We'll see.
Hey, Navosta, no
Novastone.
Stone.
Yes, but OBJ clear waivers. If so, should Ravens get it? Okay, I get it. Me and Ace went through it, and before. By the way, this is great conversations that we have pregame or pre-show. And I know
You guys need to save that conversation for the show. You guys were
shout out to Sam because Sam, I just put no, right? Like if you follow me on Twitter, I put no, and then Sam was like, "You bum receivers." Anyway, I prefer
Zim
not.
is at the same time the biggest Odell hater and fan at this
Yeah.
simultaneously.
All in one package. All in one package.
Just depends on what helmet he's wearing that day.
Depends on if you're comparing
it
them to
depends on
Jamar
what
Chase
point
or
he
not.
wants to make. You know what I mean?
So, but my whole point with the OBJ, it's not. I'm not trying to take shade at the guy. My whole point will be is basically if he comes to Baltimore, he needs to understand, like any receiver, you might not get targeted this week. You might get targeted once or twice. You might get targeted 5 times, right? Because Lamar goes to Andrews a lot, and Odell will come here midseason. Andrews will still get his. Andrews and Lamar Jackson has been together for 4 years. And Hollywood Brown and Lamar Jackson hang out together everywhere. Those two are like everywhere. They come to the stadium together. They just hang outside. So Hollywood will get his. So Odell will be at minimal de facto 3. Is he okay with that? Like, if he's okay with that and not costing anything, I think it'll be fine. But I am very leery to introduce somebody to the locker room mid-season that can cause problems. That's all I'm saying. That's why I would prefer not to. And I think that the receivers, let me put it like this. Right now, the Ravens receivers are not the problem. It's the O-line. If you can find me the equivalent OBJ as an O-lineman, I'll take him. Especially in the right. Currently, the Ravens have 3 healthy-ish O-line in general. That includes practice squad. So, yeah. Right now, Ravens need more of an O-line, if we can get one, than a receiver. And Jay here says, thoughts on Myles speaking
you
out
talking
against
about?
the
I think
front.
this just happened.
Oh, I didn't see that.
I didn't see that. I
I'm
just
on
asked
Twitter
him.
right
I
now
heard people
looking at
talking
it.
about it, and I looked into it, and it's
It's-
him being upset about the OBJ kind of thing that it should
Well,
have gone
he
this far.
basically said whether his frustration. Let's
someone
read
link
the
it to me?
quote.
Link me in the
Let's read the
comments?
quote. Let's
Do you
read
have
the
the
quote.
quote? Yeah,
Let's
I
read the
didn't
quote.
see
This
it.
is from the
Okay.
press conference. All right. Somebody asked you, did you reach out to Odell? I reached out to him. I heard about the news, wanted to talk to him. So, I mean, I know he was probably going through a lot. I think I might have been the first person to reach out. I'm not sure, but I just wanted to get his side of the story, try to figure out what's going on, because obviously I'm not going to get their side first. So I wanted to get it from him. get it from them, try to see the middle, see the gray area. At the end of the day, don't make decisions. I don't make decisions, but I get to try to come at peace with it. We all do. We all have to move forward. Can you come to peace by it by Sunday? A reporter asks. Whether I come to peace by it or not, I'm going to use the frustrations as fuel. We've got to go there and make plays regardless if he's out there or not, which he won't be, but we'll have to do that. So I think we'll just be fine. Did he pick up the phone right away when you called? Of course, I have a good relationship with him. He's been there. He's always been there for me likewise. I don't know how that's destroying the team or speaking out against you.
Yeah, I mean, he's frustrated. They lost a good player. Yeah.
Just like everybody else on the team is. By the way, Baker Mayfield frustrated that this whole thing's not working out with Odell. Anybody on the team. If you have a player that's supposed to be as good and you're paying as much money to be as good as Odell, that's not something you take lightly when you have to cut him. So, yeah, everybody's frustrated right now. And just because somebody says anything other than what you think the company line should be doesn't mean that they're publicly disparaging. I don't know what you're trying to say. Disagreeing or disparaging the team that pays you. I mean, come on. Like, you got to be able to, you got to, like, yeah, that's ridiculous, man. You're allowed to speak out. I mean, come on.
So Diddy, thank you for the donation. Your message, check on YouTube. It actually got.
Sometimes what happens with these super chats is you can only put, you can only put so much in the chat message, depending on the level of super chat. That may be what happened there.
Yeah, my guy Diddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
make sure you leave something in the comments, Diddy.
Yeah, if you leave it in the comments, though, we'll read it.
We'll hear. Okay. So, Tony Ace, anything you want to add on the Odell front?
I think just on the Odell front, my thoughts, period, are we kind of, I guess, saw that it was kind of an issue, right? And I think when I really think about the total picture that we get with this Odell Beckham thing is, I think back to the situation when they traded for him, right? I think everybody in this division thought that was the moment that the Browns were going to ascend and take over the division when they went and traded for him. But you got to think about who the coach was at the time, what the kind of structure was at the time. And I think when they went and got Stefanski, that really didn't fit OBJ if you really think about it. The first thought I had was I didn't really feel like OBJ fit kind of what the AFC North kind of is, but I felt like they were still going to do something special. But I feel like with the background that the guy had coming from the Chiefs, I kind of felt like that was his vision, right? Where they still had a Tyreek Hill, they still had a Travis Kelce, and they had a great run game. And I think that's what his vision of the offense was. I can't recall the GM's name, but he came from the Chiefs, Quincy. He was the one that traded for
Dorsey.
Phil Dorsey, right? And then you go out and you get this guy from the Vikings, and pretty much he likes to run the ball. So it kind of was somewhat of a mismatch, but I think like we all talked about before, I think Odell was a good sport, obviously, up until recently in this offense. And being a Bengals fan and seeing some of what happened between AJ Green and Joe Burrow last year, I can kind of understand why these guys were never on the page. I always used to bring it up all the time. Like, they never played with each other in like the preseason. Like, Odell would be sitting out with injuries, and that's where you're supposed to get that chemistry with each other, right? During training camps, and then you had COVID. So these guys never really had an offseason to really get together and build that chemistry in the offseason out of all of the years that they played together. And some people just think, you can just take Odell Beckham Jr. and Baker Mayfield and put them together and they're just going to have chemistry. But it doesn't work like that. You have to build that chemistry up with playing with each other, getting continuous snaps, knowing what each other does. And they just never got the opportunity to do that. So it sucks that it had to go this way. But I think the writing was on the wall, especially when we started to see the tweets and stuff like that. It's just a shame that it happened this way, because now it's more of a distraction. Because now, instead of Myles Garrett getting asked questions about how is he going to prepare for Cincinnati and Baker Mayfield, they have to answer questions about this Odell Beckham Jr. situation. And that's the worst part of it all, because this is a big matchup between Cincinnati and Cleveland. So unfortunately, that saga leaves it. Odell Beckham Jr., I've said this before, I haven't seen him be that guy that he has been in New York, that ascended and took over the league since then. And I'm not sure that he can return to that. I'm not saying he's going to be a bum or anything like that, but you got to remember how good that guy was. And I just don't think that he ever hit that level or anywhere close to that level in Cleveland. And I don't know if he's going to return to it, but I think Cleveland is better off without him. And we've said that several times. And that's one of the reasons why I think that the Cleveland offense will still be fine and still manage through this.
Yep.
But those are pretty much my thoughts on it.
Anything to add, Tony?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that this is a bad day to be anything other than a Browns fan. I mean, I think for the Browns, this is the best case scenario, right? We talked about like
we brought the splits, right?
Look, the splits are real, right? I mean, the correlation exists. When Odell is out there, this is a worse offense and certainly a worse Baker Mayfield. Now, the only question is like, okay, is there is the causation there as well, right? Is that the reason? Is that the actual reason why? Are there other things that are in factor where it's just we took these splits, then this works out. But I do think that I think there's two things about this. One, I think removing Odell from the offense. Look, Kevin Stefanski, not that they were forcing him the ball there before, but you remove kind of that aspect of the whole thing of like, well, do we need to get the ball to OBJ and does Baker need to think about that? Is that in the back of his mind or whatever the reason was? But the other part about this, that's less to me than this. Donovan Peoples-Jones is their best receiver. Donovan Peoples-Jones is the best receiver on the Cleveland Browns. The Browns haven't figured it out yet. This is going to kind of accelerate the process of figuring out, man, this Peoples-Jones kid is real good because he's going to get a ton of snaps now because they have to limit them. Or excuse me, they were limited before. They're not limited anymore. My one hope is, please, Kevin Stefanski, please, you put a 3rd-round pick into this kid. Please play him. Please play Dre Archer, otherwise known as Anthony Schwartz, and not Peoples-Jones. That, to me, would be the best-case scenario because otherwise I do think that the Browns are going to be better offensively for this, as weird as that is. I mean, again, the splits don't lie. Again, it's just a question of causation.
Addition by subtraction.
Exactly, addition by subtraction. That's how this show got its start. You guys remember my addition by subtraction, taking AB off the Steelers offense? We'll never know because Ben Torres' elbow can. We'll never know. Torres' elbow will never know. We'll never know. We'll never know. Torres' elbow will never know. One of life's great mysteries.
And Q talked about it last time. He was like, the Browns last year, they really got going in that Bengals matchup. Do you know what happened in that Bengals matchup? OBJ gets hurt at the beginning of the game, and literally after that, their offense just ascended.
Cardinals game, same thing. Odell got hurt for one series in that game. It just so happens to be the one actual series that they drove down and scored. The other one was obviously the Hail Mary, which I believe
out there for that either. Yeah.
Did my boy bring that down?
That was Donovan Peoples-Jones. Yeah, that starts the show every week. Is the Donovan Peoples-Jones catch?
DPJ.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a couple super chats here. Diddy, we found it says, I said how Chase was rookie of the week 3 times in October, but they gave rookie of the month.
Ooh, bad loss though. It's like BCS ratings. You can't give it to a guy who lost to the Jets.
By the way, man, how they got Cincinnati below? They got Cincinnati right now in the rankings below what Ohio State, and Cincinnati got a better road win than Ohio State does. Yeah. It's like, bro, they ain't never gonna let them boys.
No, they're not good at group of 5 team. No.
UCF. Now Cincinnati sees what UCF went through.
Yeah.
Well, UCF didn't play nobody. At least Cincinnati was like, all right, we're gonna do the right thing. We're gonna play Notre Dame and Indiana on the road, and we beat them both. And they still don't give a damn about none of that stuff you did because you Cincinnati. That's messed up.
That is messed up.
Izana here says, shout out to you, thank you for the donation. I'm putting Garrett in the Donald class. I don't know, guys. Let me say this.
Ooh,
I think Donald is
close.
Essentially, I'm not. This is no disrespect to Myles Garrett, but
he's in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I knew this was gonna. I was like, we're gonna go back to Kelsey versus Anderson. I don't want to get that. I don't want to go there.
I buy that. But I think right now, Donald literally, if he retires today, as he's leaving, they give him the golden jacket. As he's leaving the stadium here.
Oh, it's like a Megatron thing. Like, even
and I'm not saying that Garrett is not there, but I think like Donald has been. And think about how difficult it is from the interior perspective. How dominant. Like on the outside, obviously it's easier to rush from the interior. Donald has been spectacular. I get no offense to Garrett. I think Garrett's phenomenal.
And then part of the reason we know this about Aaron Donald is because he has had 5 more seasons in the NFL than Myles Garrett. Like, there's a level of resume that has been developed there. Myles Garrett if he produces like this for like 3, 4, 5 years, like Aaron Donald, then yeah, we're gonna talk about him like Aaron Donald. But right now, this is the first time Myles Garrett feels like he's playing up to the whole potential of being Myles Garrett, because 13 and a half sacks is cool. We kind of expected more out of him coming out of college. So, now he's finally living up to what we feel like is fully the potential of him, because hopefully he plays a full season this year. He has not done that all throughout his career and has never played a full season. So hopefully he gets that. But also, he's got to put up those consistent years on his resume. 1 year where he's at 10 and a half by the halfway part of the season ain't going to get it there.
Yep.
Are there two guys in chat, both named Savage Rich? One is a Steeler fan, one is a Ravens fan. I'm getting.
Yeah, there might be.
Okay. Because
Remember, guys, and then don't spam the chat. You don't want to get on a timeout. Tristan here says, I said this in Q stream the other day, but Baker is either gonna go 0-30 or 0 for 30 this Sunday. Go Browns.
Bro, if Baker throws like 6 touchdowns, 500 yards against the Bengals, he's going to change his number to 13, because that's the level of petty he could be on. He'd be like, well, the number's free. The number's free now. I'm 13 now, man.
Joe Smith here says, I'm going to miss OBJ on Cleveland. Tony versus Q was like Skip and Shannon. Mischief Culture, shout out to you. Thank you to the nation. Hey, Ace, Tony, and Sonny, any one of y'all want OBJ on your squad? I highly doubt he goes to any other AFC North team, but yeah, thoughts. I already put my Ravens done. And Ace, would you say no, right?
I wouldn't say no, but it depends on what the money is, right? Like, I wouldn't say no to OBJ.
He basically is
but
free this year.
I don't think it's going to happen. Like, I don't think the Bengals are going to say, hey, let's spend extra money on another receiver like Odell Beckham Jr.
There's no extra money this year, right?
For 1 year.
Yeah.
There's no extra money this year because you're going to have to pay min salary for him because of the way that the Browns are restructuring, according to
and his deal's really not that bad for next year.
It's not. It's no guaranteed money. I think
there's no guarantee.
No guarantees because he's cut. Yeah.
Jarvis is like at 15. If they would have had to cut Jarvis, and that contract's gone. So I don't know, but Tony, I don't think Odell is forcing his way out of Cleveland.
Do I want Odell?
Yeah, I don't think he's coming to
Cincinnati. No, I do not. No. Okay. As a Steeler fan, I think I've had my fill of off the field issues with receivers.
Y'all don't need another TikTok.
Think we're good.
Juju out. You need somebody to get them social media.
I'm not talking about Juju, and I'm not talking about Claypool either.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
But,
AB 8-1.
Little AB action. I don't think Odell and a 39-year-old Ben Roethlisberger are going to get along real eye to eye.
You don't think they're going to kick it?
So I would pass.
Go play Call of Duty
pass on that one. Also, I don't think Odell's any good anymore. But we'll wait and see on that one.
It's
the thing too that's weird is like him and Baker were actually friends. Like they were friends before this. They're not going to be friends after this. This is going to be a beef history video on Secret Base. Yeah.
No,
that ship is sailed.
When is the Josina Anderson? Have they announced the Josina Anderson interview yet? Like, is that happening? On Sunday Countdown this week?
I think they look. If they would have kept them in purgatory for like the next 3 weeks, the Josina interview video would have been out there. But I think they scrapped it because he finally is going to get his release.
Listen, the Odell interview, it's coming. The Odell interview is coming, no doubt.
Oh, yeah, it's been frustrating for the last 3 years, and I'm just ready to show what I think in the
offseason.
How far under the bus and who gets thrown under that bus is only the
everybody.
Question. Is it just Baker? Is it Baker and Stefanski?
I think both.
I mean, because you saw what his daddy was tweeting. He wasn't tweeting about no Alex Van Pelt.
That's true. That's true.
It is pretty clear.
Although some of those plays are just not designed to go his way, right? I mean,
but it's pretty clear that for whatever reason they have internalized this thing that Baker will not throw him the ball. Like no matter what the situation in the offense is, that is what the speaking has sounded like. Is Baker is purposely not choosing to throw me the ball for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. Which I find just kind of
wait. Appointment television. Get your popcorn ready. As another great receiver
here. By the way, what I wish the most is Odell goes to a team that plays Cleveland this year. That's what I want the most. It's not. I'm just saying.
Baltimore.
Baltimore still got him twice. You heard it here first, Ravens fans. Sonny wants Odell.
I tweeted already.
By the way, if Odell does go somewhere that plays like the Cleveland Browns, remember how petty Baker was towards Hugh Jackson? in 2018
Oh,
when
yeah,
he
yeah.
was out there
Yes.
staring down
That-
Hugh, handing Hugh the ball, all that disrespectful stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, that's coming back to Odell because when Odell he plays offense, so when Baker's out there, Odell's got to watch it. He's gonna be visible on that sideline. Let Baker have a bomb. He's gonna look. It's gonna be one of them things that are gonna be very interesting. It's gonna make a lot of fodder for a lot of very untalented people on ESPN.
How dare you? Oh, on ESPN. I was about to say. I mean, my goodness, I'm right here.
Okay. So I'm just saying 2021 Garrett is better than 2021 Donald so far. Sure. I guess. I mean, number
So what
wise.
metrics you're measuring that by?
Yeah. Anyway, both are great. Play on the review. Shout out to you. Thank you for Richard Harris off Rookie of the Month for October. Wait, what?
He was.
I think when I looked at the splits on this, I think Harris had one more touchdown than Chase. So I think the one touchdown.
Bro,
I
you
think
got to
it was
look
4
at
touchdowns to like 3 or something like that. I think that's what they gave him the edge.
You got to look at it like this too. Najee Harris, the only thing on that offense worth a damn. You know what I mean? Like Jamar Chase.
Wrong.
Jamar Chase got a quarterback. He got 3 other wide receivers. He's being open by default. Najee Harris out there with nothing but Chooks and Corfor to run behind.
You got the Chase against Marlon.
I'm not going to talk about Chooks because we're not going to jinx anything. But
I don't know if Harris has like a big defense that he's win against where he's just went off.
Browns defensive
Can I
line
ask a
ain't
question?
terrible. He tore it up. You know
who
what I mean?
even?
So-
I mean, isn't this like a social media intern at the NFL that gives out these? I mean, who actually gives out NFL Player of the Month, right?
Yeah, I mean,
like
they
who
got,
even?
like,
It's just some
different-
guy, right?
They got
It's not
different
like
groups.
it's voted
It's like
on.
FedEx Ground.
Yeah,
they got
exactly.
the
The
UPS
Ground Player of the Week.
Air. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Whatever brand deal they got.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I couldn't tell you.
No, yeah, exactly.
Ken Primer here says over under OBJ's 2 TDs with the next team at 2. I don't
over on that.
I would
Over, definitely.
I would take over.
Yeah,
Give me the
one
under.
It all
season.
depends where he goes. If he
Give me
goes
2.5 and give me the under.
Lions, yeah, and like if he goes to the Lions,
If he goes to the Lions, he ain't getting no touchdown because like ain't nobody's going no goddamn
He's
touchdown.
gonna get like 18 targets.
Like,
Him and
Get
Jared.
like 20 targets a game with the
Yeah.
Lions.
Could you
Okay,
imagine
man,
you
none of those
Odell?
receivers.
Could you imagine you Odell? I forced my way out. My daddy out here talking all this garbage about Baker Mayfield just so
went
you
to
can
the
get
Lions.
picked up by the Lions, bro. That would be hilariously awful
For
him.
more than one
Like-
reason.
like-
Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield, he's like, wait, what? No.
Woo, okay. Q. I hope your team wins so Bengals fans won't be running their mouth on Facebook. Thank you, AJM.
Facebook. The Bengals fans on Facebook are some of the most negative Bengals fans out there.
It's just like that with Facebook communities you ain't a part of. It's
Yeah.
like Facebook. They literally told us they emphasize the angry emoji or whatever in their algorithm. So that's why you always see all this angry boomer stuff on Facebook is because they literally want you to do it because some people be on Facebook.
Tony, how are you feeling about the line this week? I
Yes.
like it all on the AFC North lines. We're gonna talk each game. We're
I
gonna
love
put
it.
the lines.
We did
We
it.
gotta put the lines every week.
We got there.
Of every game. Thank you for that donation, Speedy. You made Tony his day.
Appreciate it. Love
Misfit
it.
Culture here is
We're
by
a
the
gambling
way,
show now.
supposedly OBJ was
Here we go.
freelancing routes are in place, like just running to get open, no matter what. Was OBJ really about them?
Look, man. This is just gonna be smeared one way or the other, right? Like, I doubt Odell was out there running 9 routes when he was like, was there some times where he probably improvised a little bit? But I'm pretty sure that within the 2.5 years he was here, maybe not at the last game, but like the 2.5 years he was here, he was probably just trying to do what he felt like would help this team win. And it just didn't line up with what Baker thought would help this team win. And that was the issue. I don't think he went out there maliciously like, yo, I'm about to remix the whole offense for no reason and not tell anybody and still expect to get the ball. Like, I just don't think that's how an NFL player operates, no matter what you think of him.
Pirates King Usamaki, thank you for the donation. How is OBJ so close with LeBron? Well, 2 mega stars. He probably just hit him.
Cleveland.
Bro, they
I
both-
mean, you have the Ohio connection.
Well, they
Brown
were friends
fans.
before Ohio. They're just 2
Oh, okay.
mega stars. They're
Yeah.
at the ESPYs and all these events together. They like each other. Like, you know what I mean? What do you mean? Like, there's a friendship? How are we friends? Like, that's a bigger question at this AFC North talk.
That is true.
Than how
That is
Odell
true.
is friends with LeBron, you know?
They're two mega stars, right? They hang in the same circles. I am Whitaker here said it really feels like the NBA with all this drama in the league this week.
It's only really one.
It
Is
has
it
been a
more
lot
drama?
of.
No.
If you have not been connected today, then you missed
Why
a
don't
lot
Oh
of
yeah,
drama.
bro. Because I knew he was released. Like, what I need to catch up with Twitter
No,
for?
there's
What?
Aaron Rodgers drama today, which is
Aaron Rodgers. Oh yeah, the boy don't want to get that jab. Yeah, well,
But Carson Wentz has not been vaccinated either.
who?
Just Carson Wentz, yeah.
Kirk Cousins. It's a bunch of them that don't want to do it.
Lamar didn't want it for a while, and then they say, "Yeah, well, you have to put mass and travel separate from the team." It's like, okay, I'm gonna get it.
I like the super chat, by the way. This
Jarvis will not remain the number one receiver. This will shake him for the rest of the year.
I love how we talk about how tough Jarvis Landry is and how mentally strong he's made this football team, and then his best friend gets released, and y'all like, oh, Jarvis is gonna freak out. He's gonna lose his mind. He's not gonna be able to play football no more. Like, come on, man. Come on.
Wasn't Odell out all of last year? I mean, Odell was out for like the vast majority
Odell
of last
was.
season, right?
They've never really gotten a lot of snaps together throughout their whole tenure here. Either one's been out, or the other one is the one, or Jarvis is having a big game, and Odell's is kind of just sitting there like, I'm having 35 yards. Jarvis got 127. They're professionals. This is not the first time they've played without each other. They're not. Come on, guys.
Yeah, I agree. So, okay, let's talk about the game. We spent half an hour on this. Let's start with Steelers Bears. And by the way, guys, I've been putting polls. There's a poll right now. Are the Steelers winning right now? 57% say no.
I'll be right back. I got a problem with this.
Tony.
Yeah.
I'm going to start with you so you can give us the line as well.
Oh, let me pull up the line. By the way, those of us in Florida, the Hard Rock Sportsbook app is out and ready to go. So in Florida, it is legal now.
Let's get it.
Yeah. No
Which
more
app?
offshores.
Which app?
The fantastic app, by the way. Fantastic app. Do I have it? Yes.
The trip here while Tony gets the line. Bengals 28-21. Bears 24-17. Ravens 34-32. Okay, shout out to Trip.
34-32 in that Ravens game.
That's a weird score. Okay, Tony, do you know the line?
Yeah, of course. Right now, it's moved. It was Steelers by 6 earlier today. It's moved towards the Steelers. It's 6.5 now. Over under in this game is now below 40. It is at 39.
Okay,
so once again, a typical Steelers game where no one is expected to score points, but somehow the Steelers are going to win by a touchdown. I think, look, the Steelers are a weird team to talk about right now because they've won 3 straight now to make them 4-3. Obviously red hot. They're coming off of this win over the Browns, big win. They got that off out of their way, or out of their system, I should say. The revenge game after what happened in the playoffs, got through that. Okay, now the question is how good is this Steeler team right now? Because they sit there one game behind first in the AFC North. This is a team that 3 weeks ago we left dead and buried at 1-3. It's an interesting team, the Steelers right now, because they are so limited, and they're limited really in what they can do offensively, right? I mean, while they've won 3 games in a row, I don't know that anyone feels differently today about Ben Roethlisberger than you did 3 weeks ago, right? All the same limitations are there. It's more been an evolution specifically in that running game and really that offensive line and what they've been able to accomplish over the last 3 weeks. And so there are 2 kinds of teams, I think, that are going to bother the Steelers from this point forward. Number one, obviously, and anyone's going to be bothered by these kind of teams, the great offenses in the league, right? The teams that are going to play games in the 30s or close to the 30s, right? This Steeler offense right now is not really built. They're not going to go out there. They're likely not going to be dropping 30 on anybody anytime soon, right? I am hopeful as a fan that at some point during this season that I get to watch Ben Roethlisberger one last time, throw for 300, throw for 3 touchdowns, right? Classic Ben Roethlisberger game. As a fan, I hope for that. But as the AFC North Talk analyst here, obviously, I don't think that game is coming. And so they're going to have a hard time keeping up with those teams, right? And we've seen this already. We saw them have a hard time with the Raiders, with the Packers. Obviously, they did beat the Bills, which is a weird game in week 1. The other kind of team that they're going to struggle with, though, is a team like the Bears, where it's much more about defense, right? And they're going to be able to hold you down offensively, right? The Steelers, last week they played against the Browns, a team that certainly can do that, especially with teams that the Browns are a team that can be exploited down the field. The Steelers can't exploit you down the field. So the Steelers, while they had some success offensively last week, it was limited. They scored just 15 points. So this is a tough, look, I think the Steelers are going to win this football game. There's no way as a Steelers fan I'm going to come here today and say, no, the Steelers are going to lose to the Bears. It's a Monday Night Football game. I think, by the way, credit to whoever in the front office decided to do the color rush thing this week. The Steelers, I believe, are not undefeated in color rush anymore, but I think they've only lost one game in their color rush. That was against the Buffalo Bills.
Banana color? What is it?
2 years ago. What's that?
Oh, yellow? Oh, yellow? Oh,
No.
black?
It's the, listen, everybody knows the Steeler color rush, the best color rush in the league.
What is y'all color rush? Is it the
I
black
have no
one?
idea. I have no idea.
Well, you'll find out on Monday night, ESPN.
Wait.
It's all black with all yellow. All black.
But that's your normal
black jersey, black
right?
pants. No, the numbers are yellow with the color rush.
So it's just
the name is everything. It's just black and yellow. Imagine a
ugly.
Steelers uniform with no white, all black and yellow.
So it's just like a color swap of the Browns color rush. Oh, yeah, it is. It's exactly what the Browns color rush is.
Moving on here.
Okay.
Love this because I think all Steeler fans look at the next 2 games on the Steelers schedule. Bears at home.
that thing.
Lions at home. And the worry here is that you're going to have the classic Steelers look past these bad opponents and they lose one of these two. Now, the Steelers do very good in color rush. Love the idea that we're on color rush in this game because, boy, it would be very silly for this team to drop a game to the Bears on Monday Night Football. One thing I think they have going for them in this game is the Steelers are likely not going to have to face a Justin Fields who's going to be running around a lot. The Bears have only designed, I don't know if you guys read this stat, I believe it's like half a dozen designed quarterback runs for Justin Fields in that Matt Nagy offense. Seems absurd to me, but that's good because, again, it allows the Steelers defensively to play this more straight up and not have to worry about these kind of designed runs and that kind of thing. This is a team that's going to have to win by keeping Justin. This game's going to be played like Vegas says. This game's going to be played in the high teens, low 20s. Okay, that's going to mean you can't turn the ball over. You got to force Justin Fields into silly turnovers, and ultimately this defense has to show up. Obviously you can't allow Justin Fields to go off and score into the 20s or low 30s. I'll take the Steelers in a win. I think that this offensive line, the team is playing well. If they can avoid turnover, and boy, if this defense could get some turnovers in this game, especially against a rookie like Justin Fields, it makes the test a lot easier. But yeah, I'll take the Steelers in a win. I would not bet. Here's what I would not bet. I would not bet the spread in this game. 6.5 is way too many points. All Steeler fans know this. Again, the Steelers don't play pretty games here. There's no such thing as a fourth quarter that Steeler fans can enjoy this season. Okay, we all know what's going to happen in the fourth quarter of this game. It's going to be absurdly close. We're going to be sweating it out till the end. So let's just sweat out the win, Steeler fans, and let's not sweat out the line to go along with. I'll take the Steelers.
Steelers by 3.
I will. Well, the Steelers by less than 6.5. That's what is in all likelihood. So, just if you're a Steeler fan out there, again, you're going to be sweating out the fourth quarter just for the win. Don't sweat out the line along with it.
Is your kicker back, Tony?
Boswell, yeah, they're saying that Boswell should play. So that's a plus. Now, is he gonna throw in this one? I'm hoping not. I'm hoping he just kicks. I'm hoping he just kicks in this one, but you never know.
Okay, we had 2 super chats, and with this, I'll go to Ace. Trips here says, I might have missed it, but where do y'all think OBJ will go, and why, if it is the Chiefs or Bucks? I know you don't want Odell Sonny, but I do. He's a piece. Look, I really don't know where he's gonna land. I think it's gonna be the Chiefs or the Ravens.
$7.25 million for the rest of the year. If you take
Ravens don't even have that cap.
275?
725.
Oh, 725.
That's a lot for this part of the year.
Whoa, that's way higher than they were saying. Did Schefter tweet that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's crazy. That removes half the league.
Yeah, it's 11.
Yeah. So well, what's gonna happen is he's gonna clear waivers and then he can pick, and then it's a bit minimum.
All right, here are the teams that could reasonably get him based on their salary cap space. There are 2 teams on here that would have to move space, but everyone else could afford him. Bengals, Chargers, Steelers, Washington, Panthers, Seahawks, Broncos, Eagles, Jaguars. All those teams can afford him straight up. All those teams except the Steelers and Bengals would have to or do not have to maneuver. The Steelers and Bengals would have to maneuver $1 million.
Yeah, we don't have
the bird.
We don't have that money.
Out of that list, Washington,
Pittsburgh.
I think the Chiefs.
Mike Tomlin's like, yeah, let's get Odell in a moving train. Sure.
No, Mike Tomlin's like, I can get that right. You know what I mean? I can get that right. 2 dogs, 1 bone, that thing all over again.
David
2 dogs, 1 bone, Odell
With Deontay Johnson and Odell Beckham, he gonna be like 2 dogs, 1 bone. Here the extension.
Let me give you the
You think the
TLDR
Seahawks
on that
maybe?
one. He didn't get the bone. He's out. After what just happened with Ingram, I mean, my goodness.
All right. So, David, thank you for the donation. I really want OBJ to the Ravens. Again, now with that salary cap, ain't no way in hell that he
Not
can
happening.
fit in here.
Just
Ace.
cut Sammy Watkins.
Yeah, I think in this game, this is one that I think plays into the hands of the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's no team in the NFL that's given up more sacks than the Chicago Bears. And they are going against this Pittsburgh defensive line, and this defense that just did very well against Cleveland last week. Justin Fields, he made a lot of plays with his legs last week. I think that he'll try to continue to do that this week, but I just don't think that they have enough to contend with a team like the Steelers. And then you see that it's in Pittsburgh, and that makes you even less confident that the Bears can do anything in this game. So I got Pittsburgh in this one. I think it'll be a low-scoring game, but I think it'll still be a definitive Pittsburgh win.
Cute.
Yep. So I got a question for all of you guys. We like talking about unders, bets, and prop bets and all this stuff on this show.
That's where I live. That's where I live.
With Allen Robinson.
What do y'all think?
It's gonna be a no from me, Doc.
Quincy's been betting the under on Allen Robinson.
I've been winning all year.
Oh, hold on. Let me get the prop out. They had listen. Q, you can be making a fortune on this. Let me get you the Allen Robinson yards prop. I'm sure they have one. While you talk, I'll find it.
Oh yeah, because he came it off. He had 16 yards versus the Bucks the next week. 3 targets, 21 yards. The averages are awful for Allen Robinson this year. To the point. Let me see. It's not in focus.
Yeah.
I can't get it to focus. There it is.
There you go.
11 and a half yards.
Well, 39 and a half.
39 and a half.
39 and a half.
I mean, he got 23 and 16 the last 2 weeks. He's due for
Allen
a big one.
Robinson
He's
is
due for
listed
45
as
this week. He'll get like a couple second half, soft zone yards. He'll get to 60. I think he'll get to 60.
Allen Robinson's about to lose a bunch of money.
So you're taking the over?
Yeah, I'll take the over on that. Yeah.
Always knew you were a big Allen Robinson guy. Always knew it. We finally got
Boy,
there.
he goes from 20 yards, and then he'll get 50 yards after that. So he's due for 50. They're gonna be putting Joe Hayden on him. Joe Hayden gonna be able to hold him.
No,
to
they
50.
won't travel him. It'll be.
No, why would you travel? He's not elite.
Yeah,
Why would you travel?
This year? You don't travel. You don't travel.
You didn't even mention him on the game plan. Nobody mentioned Allen Robinson on the game plan.
I'll mention anyone on the Bears offense. Okay, who on the Bears?
You mentioned Justin Fields.
I'm not going to say that because I'm going to pay for that on Monday.
Every time. Anyway,
no one scares you on this offense.
Yeah,
no one scares you on the Bears offense. Who scares you on the Bears offense? Anyone scare you on the Bears offense?
I was under.
I'm going to regret saying this, but no one scares you.
People.
You might regret it, Tony.
You know what I mean?
No, I'm 100% going to regret that on Monday when Khalil Herbert goes for 150 or something.
Wait, what's your boy Mooney?
Yeah,
Mooney.
Yeah, Darnell Mooney. What happened to him? But when it comes to this week's game, Steelers coming off of a win against the Browns on the road.
Big dub. Big dub.
Big dub here. Is this on the road, right? This is in Chicago.
No.
This is in
this is in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I got the Bears by 7. Then they don't play well at home. Yeah, Bears by 7. Yeah, I got the Bears by 7.
Okay.
Bears by 7.
The Steelers are clearly a better team on the road than they are at home.
Road Warriors?
Yeah. And then they beat the Bills on the road?
Bills on the road. Half of our wins are at home, half of our wins are at on the
but your worst losses are at home.
Are they bad? Are they that bad?
They're not bad
Bengals.
losses, but you
Raiders
got blown
Bengals.
out. Yeah,
They didn't lose. They haven't lost anyone that they should have beat.
Your most embarrassing performances have been at home. We'll put it like that. Your lackluster.
I don't know what you would call embarrassing so far. I mean, the Bengals one was embarrassing, but
yeah, that's what I'm saying, and that was at home.
Okay.
So yeah, I got the Bears here. I got the Bears by 7.
Tyler says, always love Tony's Vega line analysis. Q, the Browns roller coaster ride in full effect. Strap in. Shout out to you. And then Tristan says, Ravens fan, y'all don't want OBJ. If he doesn't get 10 plus targets a game and y'all lose it all on Lamar, it's all on Lamar, The pressure OBJ brings could ruin Lamar.
I don't think that.
Oh, he's a quarterback killer.
I really don't think that's true. With Odell, I mean, like he wasn't getting 10
ruined
plus
Eli
targets.
Manning's end of his career.
Yeah, he really.
That's
ruined
why
that
Eli fell off so hard at the
2016
end.
season.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's what it was.
He was this idea that like Odell just like came to Cleveland one day and just was like, I'm not getting 10 plus targets. I'm gonna kick everything down. The dude was on the team for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And it was this bad the whole time. Like it wasn't like he was freaking out at the beginning of this. He only freaked out at the end of this. And honestly, 2.5 years, you try to work somewhere where you feel like you're being underutilized for 2.5 years and not freak out.
Not easy. Yep, I agree.
Yeah, like come on now.
Okay, so for me, this is easy.
Why do you say that about Steeler games? Steeler games are never easy. Okay?
No.
Steeler football is never going to be pretty. Throw style points out the window.
This is not going to be pretty. I agree with this. I said this is easy, and the way that both offenses going to struggle. Both offenses going to struggle. This is a defensive matchup. What defense can clamp more on the other opposing offense? Look, I don't like how Big Ben has been playing, but Justin Fields is a rookie. And I'm expecting the Steelers to confuse him and produce turnovers in this game. And that's why I have the Steelers. If for some reason the Steelers cannot produce turnovers, I can definitely see the other way around, Bears pulling a win. Because I don't see any offense really gaining a lot of ground. I mean, I could be completely wrong, and then it's offensive game. But as I watch this, like, where's the offense coming? It's going to be a defensive struggle, and then whoever produces that key turnover is going to win the game. And that's where, and I'm leaning Steelers also home, right? Justin Fields, I mean, I like a couple of things that he's been doing, but he's still a rookie in his, third start. So this is a game that the Steelers can confuse. As Ace mentioned, the pressure. This is a game that T.A.Y. and Cameron Hamer can just take over, right? So I'm expecting this game to be Steelers. Would I be surprised if the other? No, because if the Bears then become the defense that makes the turnover, I can definitely see the Bears winning this game.
And is Khalil Mack's out this game, right?
I think he's out.
I think he's out. I think Khalil Mack is out this game.
Talk about somebody who's just falling off in status.
Montgomery definitely not playing. I'm looking at Mack right now. By the way, we talk about turnovers. The Steelers are tied for third worst in turnovers created by their defense.
This is definitely a game to
although they played one less game, so it's kind of a weird stat. But
one less game.
Khalil Mack, yeah, he's out. He is out.
So voting here, we have 306 votes. They have the Steelers losing this game 56.
Shocker. Big shock in this chat.
Okay, let's talk about the Ravens.
If it ever gets to 50, if it ever gets close to 50-50, that's a win for me. That's a win.
Okay. So let's talk about the Ravens game. Tony, what is the line for the Ravens? Last time I checked, it was like 6.
It's 6. Doesn't that seem low to you? Wasn't that like an alarm bell? Woo, woo, whoa.
No.
At home versus Kirk Cousins. That's 6?
No.
6 was
because
low
tell me which game has the Vikings gone blown out?
Yeah, but 6 is not a blowout. All right, it's 6, and the over/under is 50 in this one.
Yeah.
Saying when has the Vikings gotten blown out?
Meaning by at least a touchdown. I think all the games that I remember the Vikings playing, they had lost a lot, but they have been close. So
he's right on that one. Yeah.
So
I mean, they lost by. No. They haven't lost by more than like
you're right.
possession.
No, look at this. Wow, they have literally not lost more than one.
So they lose a lot, but it's close. They cannot just close the game.
They're usually in all of the games.
All right, Sonny.
So you're taking. So Sonny, you're taking the points here. You're taking the Vikings.
I think it's going to be the Vikings. I think it's going to be close. No, I actually betted the Ravens and another thing that I do on the side on betting because I think they're going to win. But look, this is a
money line or spread.
Spread wise. I took the Ravens minus the 6. So saying all this, I think one thing that helps the Ravens in this game is Hunter not playing. Obviously, we have been struggling the O-line. The O-line on offense is what is hindering some of this team's offense. And you have Hunter, which is their best pass rusher, not playing. Yeah, that is good for the Ravens. Obviously, then you have Anderson Griffin that is becoming back to the Anderson Griffin. I mean, I think he has 5 sacks. But that could be because he had his mate, right? He has Hunter playing. So when you don't have the dynamic of the two, that obviously I'm expecting Anderson Griffin to go back to what he was maybe a year or two ago. I like their defense. I think their defense is sneaky good. I don't think they're great. I just think they're sneaky good. I like the safety Wood. Um, they're running with Pierce. Pierce. We know as Ravens fan, he's a great clogging in that middle. Saying that on offense, I feel like they underutilize Cooks a lot, and not on the running game, but in the passing game. And I'm hoping they do that again this week, because if they start putting Cook on Patrick Queen, that's when the Ravens are gonna start having problems. I don't want to see that. I want to see them keep. I think Cook has like 74 total yards on the reception, which is crazy because Cook is very dynamic in open space. So I'll take that. Obviously, the two receivers, Justin Jefferson and Thielen, they are great. I mean, they are great. I think Justin Jefferson, I'm expecting the Ravens to say to Marlon, "Hey, you're gonna travel with Justin," and Thielen worries me a little bit more because Thielen plays in that slot, and Thielen will go more against Tavon Young. Although Tavon Young has had a strong year so far, Tavon Young is a smaller type of corner, and Thielen is a bigger receiver versus at least Tavon Young. So, but overall, I think if the Ravens can produce pressure, which is something that they have been able to do without blitzing, then that definitely goes advantage Ravens. I guess that's where Kirk Cousins gets a little rattled, and that's when Kirk Cousins starts making a mistake. I think the Ravens win by a touchdown. So going back to the line, I think the Ravens win by a touchdown. I think it's going to be close. I just think they pull a touchdown at the end, and it's an M&T Bank. Coming after the bye, I know people sometimes don't care about this, but Harbaugh his record after a bye is, I think he has like 2 losses. It's maybe something like that. I mean, his record after a bye is really, really good. And the Vikings just came to playing a tough loss. I think they might be a little demoralized, right? They might be like, that was a game that they should have won and they didn't against the Cowboys because they didn't have Dak. So saying all that, I think the Ravens by a touchdown. I don't think it's going to be an easy game, though. This is not going to be an easy game. They're a team that stays in every single game. But I'm going with the Ravens at home, taking that W. Tony, you want to give your thoughts?
Do you guys know who the best passer by PFF grade is when being blitzed?
Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins.
You put them numbers up now.
Let that sink in for a second, okay? The most poised quarterback when you're bringing pressure
Blitz
in the league is not Patrick Mahomes. It's not Aaron Rodgers. It's not Tom Brady.
Joe Burrow second, right?
It's Kirk Cousins? You expect me to believe this, PFF? Of all the crazy grades that they have ever done, I trust this one the least of any. But the stats actually do match up here. I mean, you look at not just the grade, but then you look at his numbers here. I mean, he has, when blitzed, he has a decent completion percentage at 61%, but his adjusted completion percentage is 80%. He's very efficient, and he gets rid of the ball quickly, so he doesn't get sacked in these moments. He's got an average time to throw of just over 2 seconds. He's shockingly good in this. And then when I think about what the Ravens do, and we've seen Martindale do that this year, is wanting to bring that pressure again, go zero. It feels like Kirk Cousins,
they had done less of that.
No, you're right. They have done less of that this year, right? And so there's a version of this game where it plays out where they just drop everybody into coverage, and this whole stat line that we're talking about right now, like this entire conversation, is going to mean absolutely nothing come Sunday. But yeah, I thought that was really, really intriguing that if they do elect to go with that zero, and they've had a ton of success in the past doing that, right? Of rattling quarterbacks that way. I'm be interested to watch that. Now, the other thing about this is that, the Ravens have been very good to stopping the run this year. And part of what makes Kirk Cousins good is having a good running game, whether it's Dalvin Cook, obviously, but then they have, what's the guy's name? Madison behind him, who's been pretty good for them as well. If the Ravens can get that shut down and then put it all, and then do the blitzman again, I think that there's like a building blocks here of like stop the run, get some pressure on Cousins, make good things happen. Even though I know these stats tell me that putting pressure on or blitzing Kirk Cousins is not a great idea. The other thing I go back to with the Ravens offensively, though, is about running the football. Can the Ravens run the ball? Can the Ravens even run the ball right now? What is going on with the Baltimore Ravens and this run game? Because early on in the season, it felt like, boy, Tyson Williams, you put him in there, he can kind of just be another guy, along the, with JK and Gus Edwards and all that.
Murray not playing in this game, by the way.
Now, then they started sitting Tyson Williams. They started having fun with us by playing Murray and Le'Veon Bell and Devonta Freeman and all these guys.
Murray at least is decent with us.
That's right. That's right. No. I mean, like Le'Veon, the more Le'Veon Bell is out there, the funnier I think it is.
It kills me too.
Yeah, I think the Ravens are going to win this football game. It really would come as a shock to me if this Ravens defense can't shut down Kirk Cousins, right? I mean, I've talked about Kirk Cousins as kind of being that, the stepping stone, right? There's no way that this Ravens team should be allowing Kirk Cousins to have big games. And then it comes down to this Ravens offense being able to move the football. I have real questions about their running game, but as we talked about in the past, Lamar's having a very good year throwing the football. This receiving core is very good. And if you want a bet for me in this one, I don't like the over-under in this game. I think that Vegas did a great job with both the line and the over-under. But there's one player prop that makes no sense to me. They have Marquise Brown, Hollywood, our boy, everybody's boy on this podcast, 58.5 receiving yards. He has gone under that number just twice this season. And one of those games was the Lions game in which he should have had like 300 yards receiving in that one. It is a shockingly low number for Hollywood Brown. I am going to be that is when I'm all over this week in this game is Hollywood over 58.5 receiving yards. He's due for at least one big one, and they get him involved. I think he's had 10 plus targets in 3 or 4 games this year already. He's a big part of what this offense does, and I like him to have a big game.
Cute.
Yeah, this is one of them games where I feel like it's going to be a little sloppy, a little bit like kind of rough. But I think ultimately the Ravens are going to get out of there just because I think they have the better player in Lamar Jackson to make that difference at the end of the game here. I think Kirk Cousins is going to have a pretty good game here just because the Ravens, they blitz like crazy. Kirk Cousins is actually really good at getting rid of that ball. You look at that game where the Browns played them, right? And Myles Garrett, like I said the week after that, he might have had his best game of the year. And it wasn't even the game where he had the 4 sacks. It was the one where he had the half sack because he was getting pressure crazily instantly. But Kirk Cousins is getting rid of that ball before he can get to him. Now, when you do that to Kirk Cousins and you're successful at blitzing, you're going to see what happened to him when the Browns played him, where that offense stagnates. I don't think the Ravens are going to be able to be as successful with it, with the pressures, just because I think they don't have that level of pass rusher on their team. So that being said, that's why I think Kirk's going to have a good game here because he's going to be able to get rid of the ball fast, and it's not going to be like he's going to be super rushed like he was when he was going up against the Browns. So he's going to have a good game, but I ultimately think the Ravens are going to pull this one off at home.
The trip here with the donation says most of the run game struggles is the O-line. The guards seem scared to hit. Obviously, the running back room is hurting, but there aren't many holes. The Le'Veon Bell looks like he's a sloth there. Like he looks slow, very slow. And when Lamar gives
Le'Veon Bell.
Man, when Lamar gives you the ball and a read option, he expects you to hit the hole. That's not Le'Veon Bell. That's why I always said that I did not like Le'Veon Bell for this offense. 3 years ago, we pretty much wanted him 3 years ago, and they finally got it. I don't think he's good for the offense. Anyway, Ace, what do you think about this game?
Yeah, I think the interesting thing is Tony kind of talked about when Kirk Cousins is blitz, he's kind of the elite kind of guy, right? But the interesting thing of that is that you also have to look at the under pressure. When he's under pressure, that's where the interesting thing, when he isn't blitz, but he is under pressure, he's actually got a rating of 63.0. And we all know that the Ravens like to blitz. So that's going to be the interesting, equivalent in this game because blitzing someone's under pressure. I don't know how they differentiate between the two, right? But obviously the Ravens will be doing their best to get some pressures on him. And I think that Kirk Cousins is definitely underrated. And he's actually playing, I think if I'm not mistaken, he's got the 2nd overall quarterback grade on PFF after Tom Brady, if you take things into account. But with that being said, this is a very interesting game because both of these teams are going to come out in these games with a chip on their shoulder. Obviously, Baltimore had to sit and stew on that Bengals loss. They're frustrated. They're ready to come out and prove a point. And then obviously with the Minnesota Vikings, they ended up losing to Cooper Rush last week, right? Where he was able to actually have some success against them. And this has just been a frustrating season for them as well. We talked about, the margin of losses as far as points scored in those games. So this is a team that is good. However, I think the thing going against Minnesota right now is that defense that has been very good is really hurt with a lot of injuries. You talk about Hunter, you talk about Anthony Barr, you talk about Pierce being out of this game, and those are key guys for them on defense that the Ravens can take advantage of. And especially with it being in Baltimore, it's hard to walk in there and come out with the victory. I think that they'll try to get Dalvin Cook going. I think that that's the key for their offense. One of the other things, though, everybody always talks about Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. KJ Osborne is quietly putting a solid season together and definitely is a threat that could probably make some noise in this game. And he's kind of their third option. But with it all being said and done, I think that Baltimore comes out of here with a victory. Now, I do know Bateman, I believe, is questionable for this game.
Likely to play.
He's likely to play. So he's got the groin injury, so he's likely to play. But I think Baltimore, given what happened to them before, they had the bye week to prepare. They're ready to come out and take control of this division, given that the Bengals just lost to the Jets. So I think that the Baltimore Ravens are going to win this game, and I think that they are going to kind of put some pressure on Minnesota to really consider firing Mike Zimmer, which has been a storyline this season. Is how much rope is he going to have? And I think that rope is going to run out after this game against the Ravens.
Yeah, and Sammy Watkins, I think, is also scheduled to play in this game. Minecraft Masters here says, out to be watching both Ace and Quincy's game day stream. Excited.
Tell you what, this is one of those weeks where, the 3 TVs come in handy. I'm going to have Bengals Browns on one, Quincy stream on the other, Ace to stream on the third TV. Let's go. We'll be switching the audio around just to which one I want, who's sadder at that moment.
I'll be definitely tapping in on my phone through the other 2 screens. The game for the Browns and Bengals is at 1, right?
That's 1. Yeah, it's 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
1 o'clock. It's the national 1 o'clock. If that's
It's Nance and Romo. I'll be talking about that.
2 weeks in a row for the Browns, right?
I'll be talking about that.
I put this poll late, guys, but Ravens have it 64-36. Okay, let's talk about the marquee matchup. The marquee matchup of the AFC North.
Of the season.
Question. Not this.
Of the offseason.
The offseason. We have been brewing with this for since the offseason. But should we start or should we just give it to Ace and Q and just fill it up, Tony? I think we should do that. Because I know we were running over an hour.
Yeah. No, we wanted to be done by 7. I know we have some people with that need to leave at 7. So let's have them go and then
Ace, who wants to go first?
I go first.
Okay.
Because honestly, as much as I want to sit here and be like, the matchup, Jamar Chase, the defense, how they're going to figure out an answer for that. Joe Burrow is going to be very good in that short middle part of the field with no JOK in there to kind of lock down some of these things. It's an interesting question of will Joe Burrow be able to text the Browns defense with the deep ball, even though he has a deep threat, but he doesn't have necessarily that deep arm that a Kyler Murray or Justin Herbert has. So that's all an interesting question there. But let's be honest here, man. We talking about the Cleveland Browns for this game. No disrespect to the Bengals. I don't mean this as any disrespect, and I don't mean this like the Bengals aren't a good team. I think the Bengals are a great team. They can definitely win this game, and they can definitely put up some numbers against this Cleveland Browns defense and offense, man. And Graven is cooking Hollywood Brown right now. Oh, my goodness, he is cooking. But another thing that we can mention here, or that I think is more important, is for the Cleveland Browns, man, how you come out for this game is a lot more important than just the result of this game. Obviously, you need to win this game. That's no question. But you have had every single facet of this team questioned into coming to this week. The head coach, his competency has been questioned. The offensive coordinator's competency has been questioned. This locker room's competency has been questioned. The leadership's competency has been questioned. The quarterback's competency has been questioned. Everything is at question, and now you're at a tipping point. Either you can get it together, merge together, and fix this thing and go on and have a decent rest of the year, or you can fall apart, and this could be like the come get me game in 2019, right, where they just fell apart in Arizona and never came back afterwards. But we'll find out, man. That's what this game's about for me. I want to see how the Cleveland Browns are going to come out. I want to see what kind of team do we have here, what kind of leadership, what kind of locker room do we have here? Because if you come out here, and no disrespect to the Bengals should absolutely not blow you out. Like, this should be at the very least, or at the very most, a close game. I'm anticipating it being a close game. If it is Bengals blow you out because you sitting here still mad about the Odell thing, or not focused on the game plan, or not committing fully, or whatever, then this team, this coaching staff, this quarterback, maybe you have to reevaluate all of those decisions that you have made. Now, I'm not saying you fire or cut anybody this year, but I'm saying you have to look at those guys with a more critical eye than what we have for this whole year, because if that's the case, you ain't really getting the job done, right? Like, you don't really have your locker room behind you. You don't really have the team behind you. That makes me question leadership. So for me, this is all about how the Browns come out. If the Browns come out here ready to play, are the Bengals a team that they could be? Absolutely. The Bengals are a team that they can be if they come out here and play well. Because you know what? Damn it, they haven't played well all year, and they've beaten some decent teams. They've beaten teams that have beaten the Bengals. So if they come out here and play well, and they execute on offense for the first time since the third quarter in Kansas City, they'll be all right. And I don't think that it's impossible for them to do that. I don't think the Bengals defense makes that impossible. I mean, this is a defense that, has been playing well, but also Mike White's jersey to the Hall of Fame last week. So it is not an impossible task that you have up in front of you to go up there and play well versus this Bengals defense. Not saying that it's going to be a guarantee, not saying that it's going to be easy. I'm saying the exact opposite of that. In this week where it's going to be difficult, it's going to be hard, we need you to show up. If you show up, then I feel like we got something with this team that we don't have to restructure everything. But if you don't, then, this team ain't what we thought it was, or it is what everybody else thought it was, who the naysayers thought it was. So we'll find out about this team. As far as I think about going into this situation, the way I'm leaning, I think the Browns are going to come out this and get a win. Baker has a history of performing well against Cincinnati, has a history of having his bounce back performances against Cincinnati. Granted, those were different Cincinnati teams than the one that we play today. Those were not above 500 squads, but still, he does tend to get his season correct around that time of the year. We'll see what happens with the Odell thing. We'll see if the timing routes were really like that big of an issue that Odell wasn't staying on those. And that was causing Baker to be out of rhythm, out of sync here. We'll see. We'll see what happens here. Donovan Peoples-Jones getting extended snaps. I like to see that. And the defense and the offense are both getting healthy. Takk McKinley going to be coming back this week as well. So I think that's also going to be a factor. And also Myles Garrett versus this offensive line is going to be something I think is going to really shake up the passing game. Now, Jamar Chase, are they going to have an answer for him? No. Jamar Chase probably going to have over 100 yards, a touchdown. But is Jamar Chase going to be enough to beat the Browns if the Browns are playing well on the offensive side of the ball? No. And I expect them to, because I don't expect this team to become a complete dumpster fire mess. But, I can easily acknowledge that I could be wrong on that front.
Oh, we got a muted Sonny.
We got a muted Sonny.
Sorry. I will say this before I throw it to Ace. This is a game that is almost critical, especially for the Browns, but also for the Bengals. Think about 2 weeks ago, Bengals were first. If they lose, now they tie in theory for last, right? So the Bengals don't want to lose this game. Obviously, the Browns lose and everybody else wins. Browns are now 4-5. That could be problematic as they're pushing for the playoffs. So definitely this is a game that is very important for both teams. I would say a little bit more for the Browns than the Bengals, although the Bengals, it will be good for them to essentially sweep the first half of the AFC North. Before I go to Ace, just heard OBJ wanted out before the season. AB mishandled the situation. Now players are questioning management. Season over. I'm assuming he's a Browns fan. Shout out to you, T-Gat.
When he said AB mishandled his, I thought it said AB mishandled his situation. I was comparing AB to
Antonio Brown.
Yeah, I thought it was Antonio Brown.
No, we're talking about Andrew Berry. Yeah.
By the way, the fact that Odell wanted out before the season does maybe give a little credence. Remember the whole Odell come get me?
That was 2 years ago. And that was Jarvis Landry that was reportedly saying that, not Odell. It's one of those things that we've attributed to Odell, but like Jarvis was in on that one too. Reportedly.
Come get us. Package.
Yeah. So, that one's not substantial, but we'll see, man. I mean, I don't know why they didn't look. If I get why you would want to see if this thing could work throughout the trade deadline, I just don't get why, if you knew that this was going to get to this point, or you felt like it was going to get to this point, why you didn't get rid of him beforehand. I understand that he's not an easy person to trade because not everybody can take on that salary. But, you know, yeah, I think it would have just been cleaner if you could have found a way to trade him, whether it be you not getting anything in return of value. I mean, you know, you send him back for, what was it, the Corey Coleman trade 2 years ago where they traded they traded Corey Coleman because they were tired of him for like a 2028 7th round pick. Like, you can figure it out.
Okay, Ace, what do you think about this game?
Yeah, let's get into it, man, because I've been dealing with this, and Bengals fans, we've been dealing with this whole Baker is your daddy thing for the longest, like with his record against us. And I'm just gonna throw out some comparisons, I guess. Right. So I'm not going to name these two teams, but I'm going to talk about the difference in the last 5 or 6 games between these two teams in relation to the Bengals. 38-3, 27-3, 49-13, 23-17, and 24-21. That is what the Baltimore Ravens were doing to the Cincinnati Bengals before or when Lamar Jackson showed up, right? I think Lamar Jackson is the Bengals' daddy. This is what the Cleveland Browns have done against the Bengals in the last 5 games. 37-34, 35-30, 33-23, 27-19, 26-18. And these were with teams where the Browns should have been the far superior team, especially after last year, where they have essentially in one of those games actually lost to the Bengals. He actually lost to the Bengals in the 33-23 one. That was the one where the Bengals actually won.
That was against the Browns with 6-10, right?
So it hasn't really been this whole thing where it's just like we feel like we've been dominated with Baker Mayfield. But I mean, they can have that if you guys want it. But I think the real daddy before that was actually Lamar Jackson. But that's neither here nor there. The Battle of Ohio is exciting again. Those games that I talked about last year were actually some of the most exciting games, I think, of the season. And it's centered around Baker Mayfield and Joe Burrow. And I honestly think that this is going to be a matchup for years to come that is going to be extremely competitive. It's going to be extremely exciting. And I think I talked about it on Quincy's show. This used to be like the B side of the AFC North kind of divisional matchup as far as rivalry. And now I think it's actually rising just because you have Joe Burrow and you have Baker Mayfield. Both teams are good now. You don't have the Derek Anderson, Carson Palmer teams from back in the day anymore. And so I think that this is going to be a good matchup. And I think there's a lot of stuff on the line in this game. You talked about the Bengals having that big loss to Mike White, making him a Hall of Fame quarterback. And then you're headed home to try to take on Baker Mayfield. But not only are you doing that, you know what else you're trying to do? You're trying to go 3-0 in the division, because that'll be the first time since 2015 that the Bengals have done that. And 2009, I believe, as well. And those were the years that the Bengals won the division. A lot of people talk about the Bengals like we've never won the AFC North before. You would have just swore that the Bengals just never did that and just were not a good team. And we've been down for 5 years, but we're back. And this is going to be a statement that the Bengals have to go out and win, especially at home. After 3 games on the road, going 2-1 in that stretch, you had the big letdown to the Jets. You cannot lose this game. I think that this is definitely one that you have to take here. And it's not going to be easy because the Browns are still a good game. I don't care about what all is going on with Baker Mayfield being in and out of the lineup, with the OBJs, the whole saga and all of that. This is a good team. Don't get it mistaken. They still have Myles Garrett. They still have Nick Chubb. They still have all of these weapons in Njoku. You talk about all of the tight ends that they have over there. You talk about Jarvis Landry. They still have those players. They still are a defense that held the Pittsburgh Steelers to 15 points last week. So they are a team that you need to be worried about. They still have Myles Garrett, who's having pretty much a career year this season. And especially based off of what happened last week in the Jets game, you kind of gave them a blueprint on how they can attack this defense. So, yes, this is a game where I think some people may be favoring the Bengals, but the Bengals have to go out and take care of business. And how they do that, I think, is trying to stop this run with Cleveland. You have to stop it. Nick Chubb, you cannot let them get chunks of yardage on first and second down. You got to try to neutralize him. You're not going to shut him down. It's Nick Chubb. But you can't let him run wild like the Jets running backs did last week with Michael Carter and Todd Johnson. You cannot have that happen. You also cannot let the middle get killed like it did last week. The entire scheme that Lou Anarumo ran last week was pretty bad. The zone, the cover three, the quarters, they can't do that in this game. They cannot utilize that game plan in this game. They have to go out and use some of that man. They have to do some things where they switch things up because this Cleveland team can put up points in bunches. I know it's been a while since we've seen that, but they can do it. So, and you got to recall that those were in games where OBJ didn't play. So if you're going to sleep on this team, that is the wrong thing to do. But you got to come out and consistently score the ball. That is something that the Bengals have struggled with in the first quarter. This cannot be the game where we continue to struggle and have lulls on offense, because the closer that you keep this game, the more that it plays into the Browns, a running team's hands. And the best way to try to beat the Browns is to try to jump up on them and stretch that lead and take away their biggest asset, which is the run game. If you allow them to keep the run game in this game, you are going to be in for a tough day. The other thing is on defense, in terms of what you have to do, you have to try to take advantage of any lulls that this Cleveland offense has. Whenever they're not scoring or anything like that, you have to take advantage of that, and you have to limit them scoring in the red zone. I mean, before this game against the Jets, no one had scored, I believe, over 24 or 27 points against this defense, and you just gave up 34 last week. That cannot happen in this game. So you've got to control the perimeter. You got to make sure that you wrap up and tackle. You got to stop and neutralize Nick Chubb. You got to protect the middle. And on offense, you have to go to your players. But they have three solid cornerbacks to match up with them. So you got Jamar, you got T, you got TB that you tried to go to last week. The other key in this game is you got to utilize CJ Uzomah. I think that he's the key in this game, is that you have to get him involved as well, especially with some of this talent that Cleveland has. They have had some issues with Ronnie Harrison this season. So I think that you try to attack him if you can. And you just got to be consistent. And when it comes to running the ball, this is a team or a defense in Cleveland. They're stingy at that. But you have to establish it, and you have to run it the right way. And you have to make sure that it helps set up your pass and that you consistently score. And I think that the Bengals will be playing mad in this game because they're a young team. They're one of, I think it's top 5 in the NFL in terms of youth. And they kind of got up on themselves last week against the Jets, but I think that they're ready to come and handle business in this game. And I think Joe Burrow, more importantly, is, because I think that he kind of felt like Baker got the best of him in those 2 games last year. And I think this season he's going to step up and be the equalizer in this game and lead the Bengals to a victory.
Before I go to Q's, I know you had to go. Yo, Ace, Baltimore has always had a top 3 defense. Cleveland, until this year, has always been 20th. Of course, the points are going to be closer versus the Browns.
Oh, yeah. I think the Browns have an amazing defense. I would probably, just given the injuries that Baltimore has had, because they don't have Peters and all of that, I would give the advantage to Cleveland on paper as far as like the talent that they have on that defense.
Yeah, and then when you bring up those stats for the last 3 years, part of the reason those games are a lot closer, even though last year's was closer and the Browns had a dramatically different record than the Bengals, but like the 2018-2019 year, the records weren't that different between the Bengals and the Browns.
Okay, what is the line, Tony?
All right. Well, listen, first of all, I just want to say I appreciate all of the great work that Quincy and Ace did breaking that game down with numbers and matchups and all that, because I'm going to do exactly none of that. All of my analysis is on feel and about everything else surrounding this game and nothing about
the aura.
Yeah, exactly. The vibes of this
The
game.
eye test.
Yeah, no, not even. It's the heart. You got to feel it in your heart, Q. All right, the Bengals are favored by 2 in this game. They are at home.
It's
a home game, so you should be by 3. So again, they've moved the line closer to the Browns in that way. Interesting. And then the over-under is 47. But once again, much like the game between the Ravens and Vikings, I like a player prop in this game, and you guys know what player prop it is, okay? We got addition by subtraction. Who plays better when OBJ is gone? Well, I'll tell you what. It's my good friend Baker Mayfield, his player prop, by the way, on passing yards, 234.5. Give me the over. Way over. I mean, it's a guarantee he goes for 300. It's a guarantee he goes for 300 in this game. He may have a career day in this one without OBJ, as he goes back. But here's the other part of this game. We talk about like the Browns defense. They have some problems, especially with a receiving core like this. They get lost in coverage a lot. I think it's gonna be a big part of this game. But that's not the reason why the Browns are gonna have trouble in this game. The reason why the Browns are gonna have trouble in this game, Tony Romo is calling this game. And I don't know if you guys know this, the Cleveland Browns have never, not a once, ever won a football game when Tony Romo was in the building, when he was calling the game. So I got the Bengals in this one. Give me the Bengals -2, but give me Baker Mayfield over 234.5 passing yards in this one. Lock it up. If I could parlay those two things together, I don't think they'll let you do that. But if they let me parlay those two things together, I would put a substantial, but again, completely, within my means.
It was a wild card in that though, Tony, because like the Bengals have no history with Tony Romo and Jim Nantz on this call, right? Like they haven't been at that spotlight, so we don't know if this is going to be something that cancels each other out. When it was the Steelers last week, I was nervous because I was like, well, they won with Tony Romo, but this week it's like, I don't know. They might have the same thing we got going. We don't know. You know what I mean?
Soul Train Super Chat. Here he is. Yep.
Regardless of who wins, if Baker passes for around 300 yards or more, does that seal the deal that Baker is better without OBJ?
If he has a better 8 games than he did at the end of the year, that pretty much seals the deal. But 300 yards, Baker had 300 yards versus the Chargers, and we weren't like, oh my God, Baker, you're so great. You know what I mean? After that game. So 300 yards.
So Chargers defense is bad. Bengals defense is good.
This is my
They just said Mike White to the Hall of Fame. Like that's
Baker's
what they're going.
Mike White. Mike White might be the next Taylor Heineke. Taylor. I never forget his first name.
So Mike White might not be
Mike White last night
before.
Before Mike White left that game,
he was looking good.
Thank you. See, Ace. I see me and Ace.
White.
I had to look and see. Like, all right, was our defense that bad, or was Mike White just like?
Honestly, Ace, Ace is so good at evaluating quarterbacks. He makes me want to reevaluate my thoughts on
Baker Mayfield with Tyler Heineke and Mike White.
Zach Wilson. I don't know. They might have to take him
I had that same thought too.
I had the same thought. Yeah.
Also, did you guys see the shot last night of it was Zach Wilson standing next to Joe Flacco? Zach Wilson looked like he was 16 years old standing next to Joe Flacco.
He is.
I mean, he basically is.
He is.
But also, Joe Flacco kind of looks like he's 50 at this point.
Well,
he's always looked like he was 50. That's Joe Flacco's bag. That's his thing. Joe Flacco came out of Delaware looking like that.
This is my 2 cents in this game. By the way, right now the voting is going Bengals 55, Browns 45.
Sonny, your 2 cents should go on Baker Mayfield over 234.5 passing yards. But
look, if you think about this game, the couple of things is, I think one of the things the Bengals need to do, they need to force the issue and make this team one-dimensional, meaning the Browns. I like the Browns team a lot. I think I've been liking them now for the past couple of years. But I'm struggling with the fact that their offense has not looked like I thought the offense was going to look. And the defense is coming up and looking better. The Bengals, on the other hand, they laid that egg over there. But the offense looked good, and the defense for the first time looked bad. And you have a defense that for the most part has looked good, and an offense that for the most part has not performed to the level that they have. I understand the whole OBJ thing. OBJ doesn't play, they play better. I got it. But saying that, I feel like the Bengals right now have been the most consistent team throughout the year. Again, I know they laid that egg against the Jets. On offense, I think there's place to be had with this Browns defense. I think the Browns are going to key on Jamar Chase. So I'm going to take, I don't know, the over-under on yards for Jamar Chase, but I might take the under if it is about 100. Not because Jamar Chase is a bad player or anything. I think that Browns might over-key on Jamar Chase, and then that's where you want to see Boyd and Higgins stepping up. Mixon, I think, also is a key. I actually think Mixon has not been playing great lately, but the Browns right now do not possess, in my opinion, that linebacker that will stop Joe Mixon if he goes to the second level. So I think if Joe Mixon gets going, I think they can have a good game. I don't know, but I tried to see how can I dissect and how can I potentially give this to the Browns maybe. But I like this Browns team for years now. But right now, the Bengals are playing the better football. Go ahead, Tony, because you're.
I just want to give you. I mean, okay, it was 72.5 is the over under for receiving yards for Jamar Chase. So I think that's it's tough.
Yeah. Because I would say he was definitely under 100, but I think he will be around 80. It was going to be the number that I said. So I guess I'll take the over. Yeah,
take the over.
Yeah,
30 yards last game. I'm going to take the over.
Sometimes on these sites, they put a prop up that says, will there be a touchdown longer than like 56.5 yards, something like that. In this game, I think you have to take the over for that.
But my point with this game, look, Bengals team coming from a tough loss, home crowd that is going to be electric. That jungle is going to be crazy. I don't think the drama will affect the Browns as much. I think that the Browns have enough leadership there that they can just go past that. The only way I can see this game going the other way, I think it's going to be a close game. If the D-line of the Browns takes it over and makes Joe Burrow under the rest.
Oh, no. He's been having internet issues all night.
Damn.
He was about to say.
I think that the Bengals will win.
About to win by 20.
That's what he just said.
I think he was about to say that I do think that there's where he's going with this is kind of a big Browns win, like the Browns' ability to kind of win this game, by the 10, 15 points or whatever. I think that, as a Steeler fan, like that scares me a little bit because of the OBJ thing.
Shout out to Virgin Mobile. But what I was gonna say, not
a sponsor of the show.
A key thing I will say, if the D-line of the Bengals harass Joe Burrow, then I can see the Bengals winning this game. If not, and Joe Burrow can stay fairly clean on rushing form, not
Browns winning the game. You said Bengals. Browns winning the game. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, Bengals win the game.
Wait, which one you going with?
I'm going with the Bengals unless the D-line.
Oh, okay. No, because Tony confused me. I thought he was saying that you were saying that the Browns are going to win. So you saying the Bengals, right?
The Bengals, unless the Browns D-line without blitzing dominates that game.
So all three of y'all pick the Bengals.
Yeah.
Bengals.
Bengals.
Right,
so, big Bengals.
Yeah. Y'all gonna make this fun on Tuesday. We do this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Mike White
going with the Tony. I'm riding the Tony Romo wave.
Hey, man.
Mike White over Tyler Heineke.
Wrong, but they're close.
Joe Burrow, 400 yards and 4.
Sorry, Christopher. I think he mistyped here. He meant to say, obviously, this is about Odell. He meant to say Baker Mayfield, which I agree with. That's why I'm taking Baker Mayfield over 234.5 yards.
Shout out to you, Christopher. Thank you for the donation. And then Soul Train here says, Tony.
I like how you said that. Like, that's not what Joe Burrow got the last 2 times he played the Cleveland Browns. Though. Like, I assume he's gonna have something along the lines of that.
Can you tell the app to sponsor us?
Listen, I'm going to be driving to Tampa this weekend. Although, by the way, weirdly, the sportsbook is not open in Tampa. You actually can only bet via the app, which is very silly. Although it's going to save me gas money because I wouldn't be driving to Tampa every weekend if that were the case. The app is called the Hard Rock Sportsbook. You can get it on both Google Play. I don't know if it's on Google Play. It's on the App Store for sure. Check it out. It's
out to Tony for that because I had no idea.
I wish there was a referral code. Hold on. Before everyone signs up, let me see if there's a referral code on here because I'm just throwing away free money if there is. I know.
Either way, the vote for you guys: parlays. Bengals 55%, Browns 45%. The peeps are going with the Bangs as well. So Q is 4-1. If you're keeping tabs.
I feel even better now about this.
Q is saying the curse will be broken with Tony Romo.
Huh? I don't know if it breaks the curse if you do it against the Bengals, but I'm just playing Bengals.
There's no referral on here. It's the Hard Rock app.
Didn't officiate or announce any of those games.
Yeah, I could walk you through every Tony Romo game they have lost. It was the Bengals, it was the Ravens game in 2018. That was the first one. The last game of the year, 2017. Browns were driving. Baker threw an interception to CJ Mosley. People forgot.
Kept the Steelers out of the playoffs that year.
Kept the Steelers out of the playoffs. What everybody forgot is that Jarvis Landry got hit straight in the face with a football that should have been a touchdown, and he just did not decide to catch. I remember that one. And also, they screwed the Browns out of a touchdown on a Lamar Jackson fumble that they ruled dead for no reason. I remember that one. Browns should have won by 14. Engraven, I think, was at that game too because he posted a 2-hour movie after I had to sit in that loss. I remember that one. Shout out Engraven. But then 2019, pick one. Pick one in 2019.
Was that the opener of the Titans game?
The opener to the Titans. 1 o'clock, Tony Romo, Phil Simms, Jim Nantz. Woo, woo. Yeah, that speaks for they didn't give us another Jim Nantz, Tony Romo game for the rest of the year after that. And in 2020, I think we avoided it until the freaking
game, right?
Playoffs.
Steelers.
No, yeah, it was the playoffs. Was it Steelers? No,
Steelers game. Steelers last
was
year.
that
Steelers,
the first one?
Yeah. The first one.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Romo,
yeah, the Romo, and then the Chiefs game.
Yep.
Both
Chiefs
of them.
Yep.
Both of them. And then the damn Steelers. This is a large collection of games.
No,
y'all.
it's again.
Like,
It's the correlation causation, right?
3-year period. Like this is
And
not.
now they
like,
have no Baker.
This is not like 5 games. By the way, I think their record is the exact opposite with the Fox #1 team with Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. So if only the Browns were in the NFC. Yeah, it's probably because they do a lot of Thursday night football games, though. But yeah, whenever they get that team, you know what I mean? So I'm just hoping that the year the Browns make the Super Bowl, it's not the year the CBS has it, because you know what? No chance, baby. And I don't know how we're going to get to the Super Bowl because we got to break this curse to get there because it's going to be Nance and Romo in the playoffs, right? So, you know, it is. Well, maybe we get the ESPN one. And then you get to, I don't know, man. This curse is something though. There is something to this. Like
my favorite thing. This is the Odell thing.
Did we make a bet at the beginning of the season on that bet on the sweep or no? Did we not make one?
I don't remember
on air. I don't remember on air.
I don't think we made one. Damn it.
So guys, remember, we coming here either Monday or Tuesday. This is why not only you should subscribe and hit that bell so you know when we come live, because again, we switch it up for you. So we can keep you on your toes. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a fun one on Tuesday. So, hey, we'll see you next week. Peace out.
Have you ever felt?
The pump fake. Are you listening? That's intercepted by Wilson.
Ball's out. Oh, look, ball is out. He